What's dangerous is when the universe pick you and you put on the magic glasses. There's rules that go with them. You can never take them off. You never see things as they're supposed to be. You see things as they are. And you can never force nobody else to wear them.
I think while I lie awake and contemplate tonight are wearing me out. Well, maybe tomorrow the world will wake and get it right, but I have my doubts, yeah. During the day, well, I design machines of war that scream through the sky. 'Cause I, for one, I like to go to bed free at night under these stars and stripes. And I have my doubts that we're coming out. Yes, I have my doubts, and I have my doubts that we'll make it back out. Yes, I have my doubts, but they'll wind you up and pull the cord until you're spun right out. And I don't understand. Roll the dice and raise the price to feed the machine's mouth. Call it the progress of man. And I have my doubts that we're coming out. Yes, I have my doubts. And I have my doubts that we'll make it back out. I have my doubts, so I'll drink my stuff and raise some hell and shoot my guns to the end of my time. You can have the booze and go to hell and take the guns, but I know they won't be mine. Messed up and out of touch, let's text someone who's in the other room. So don't wonder why we don't say hi or know anyone. I might as well move to the moon. So maybe I'm wrong. Well, I hope that I'm wrong. So maybe I'm wrong. Well, I hope that I'm wrong. Well, the things I think, well, I lie awake and contemplate at night. Wearing me out.
Good evening. Have to get things back rearranged. So I'm going to start off the show with a little something different tonight. And then I'll clip it out and put it up on the regular channel in like 4 days, 3 or 4 days. I can go back over there. So I want to make my best attempt at sending a message to my boys, Brett and Rafal. Today, February 26th, is my youngest son's birthday. He turned 15 today. In 2 days, on the 28th, Brett will turn 18. I have not seen either of those boys since 2014. Spoke to them on the phone a handful of times, and that's it. So this is my best attempt at sending them a message. Brett, Rafal, it was never, ever my intent of you boys not being in my life. Never. In fact, that nightmare of a messed up life that I was living was because I couldn't figure out how to be able to keep you boys in my life, because I knew the moment that I walked away from your mom, that was the last time I was going to see you boys. And what happened? What indeed happened? This isn't the way it's supposed to work. This isn't normal. This isn't okay. This isn't right. You and I have both, or all three of us, been robbed. Plain and simple. I just want you boys to know that I love you with all my heart. I would do anything to have you as a part of my life. And I hope that it's within God's will and yours to do that. The amount of things that I feel, I don't know what I feel. It's disappointed, it's anger, it's everything all wrapped in one, because I am the man that's supposed to be teaching you boys important and valuable lessons and skills in life, in which I've learned plenty of both. But I'm not able to do it. I'm not allowed to do it. Why? Spite. Brett, you should be old enough to remember that when you boys had a problem, when you boys were in trouble, when you boys were scared, when you boys were hurt, you ran to Dad. Because he was the calm voice. He was the one that approached with reason. Not screaming, not throwing fits, not all kinds of threats, not emotional blackmail. You came to me because I was the calm one. I'm still the calm one. And I'm waiting. Getting impatiently, but I'm waiting and hoping that maybe someday we can start those lessons. As for advice, boys, become as self-sustainable as you possibly can. Why? Because just be ready. Just be ready to live a life, live in a world to where you have to do for yourself. And nobody else is going to help you. So be self-sufficient. Be able to do for yourself. If it wasn't for the skills that I had learned over the years, there are so many things I wouldn't have been able to do. But because I had the motivation, because I had the determination, the drive, I learned multiple skills. Everything from computers to how to work on cars to rebuilding hydraulics and pneumatics. You name it. Pest control. I mean, Again, it's frustrating to me to know the things that I can be teaching you boys, but because of spite, because of somebody's anger, because they didn't get their way, because I wasn't going to be a doormat for them any longer. That's no reason for you boys to have been ripped out of my life. There were things that were not okay with the way we were living, with the things that were going on. I was working to turn that around. It got to a point where your mom's anger reached a level, and this is the only time I'll mention it, that I told her she either had to seek help or I had to get you boys away from her. The next day, she was at the courthouse telling stories. That was the last day that I saw you boys. And that's the truth. I'll go before God. I'll go with you before God and profess the truth. Please, if you hear this, Brett, Rafal, get a hold of me. Send me an email, contact me on Facebook. Get a hold of me. I love you boys. I miss you more than you could ever even begin to imagine. But in the contact that I had with your mother, she was trying to, I've got all the proof of everything. I don't delete messages or anything like that, so I've got everything. She was trying to walk me into another trap of playing victim. And sons, that's one piece of advice that I will give you. If you run across people that want to try to play victim, you walk the other way. You walk away fast and you do not turn around. Because they will destroy you. I hope you contact me. I love you boys. Always go with God. Always go with God. Anyway, like I said, I wanted to start that out. I'm going to clip that out. That'll go on to the regular channel as soon as I can. I cannot begin to explain, to help you imagine the pits of hell that it feels. And all over lies and bullshit. People's issues that they won't fix. It's frustrating. I didn't have a choice but to fix my shit. I was out of options. I had nothing but consequences if I didn't fix my shit. I don't know. Anyway, I guess I could try to lighten the mood a little bit. I spent much of the day trying to distract myself away from thinking about the boys because that's a downward spiral. And I tried to stay positive and in a good frame of mind. And so anyway, I did a fair amount of flight simming today. And for the hell of it, I was at about 68,000 feet here, close to it. I didn't quite make it to 68,000, 66,000 and some change. And I went to the outside view, and it dawned on me that, holy cow. So I went and grabbed my level just to be sure that my eyes weren't tricking me. And I can confirm now from Microsoft Flight Simulator that the Earth is indeed not just flat, ladies and gentlemen, but the Earth is almost perfectly level. I mean, that is amazing. That is amazing. Not only did they get it flat, but they got it almost level. So, there was all kinds of miracles rolled up in one today. So I'm flying along in an F-22. I mean, that's what everybody does, right? They're Sundays, they fly around in their F-22. And I just want to make a note that Helen Keller apparently had gotten her pilot's license, and she's flying the friendly skies just over there. So she just stays over there and we'll be fine. So then I flew the F-22, by the way. I flew the F-22 all the way from, I don't remember the damned air base in California, but it was an air base. A popular one, too. I can't remember. Anyway, I flew it all the way to, LaGuardia. And then at LaGuardia, I hopped into a DC-3 and flew a DC-3 from, and it sunset. Absolutely gorgeous. Believe me, everybody said so. Bigly. And so anyway, I guess I could have came back up. So I'm in this DC-3, and I'm flying down to Andrews Air Force Base. Why? Because, well, that's what you do in a DC-3. And so I'm flying the DC-3, minding my own business, into Andrews. And as I'm getting ready to land in Andrews, I looked over, and I saw the gamer tag Congressman Dave. And I'm like, oh, that's just too rich. Well, I had to complete my job because, well, I had some, weapons for Ukraine in the back of the DC-3. So I landed at Andrews. And they offloaded my cargo. I took back off. And I just, hey, it's not my DC-3. I didn't pay for it, right? It's all government money. And so I decided that I had just, I'd had enough of Congressman Dave, and this is what happened between me and Congressman Dave. There's Congressman Dave down there on the, just little left ahead, from dead ahead. Showing Congressman Dave flies a Cessna 172, by the way, and he's at a comfortable 263 feet. And we're about to bank back around to get an up-close look at Congressman Dave. That was a beautiful flight, by the way, from New York City to the Washington, D.C. area. Hi, Dave. Yeah. A DC-3 is kind of hard to nosedive into the ground because it kind of just wants to keep flying. It's like, no, you can't fly. You can fly. You can't fly. Kamikaze! Goodbye, Dave. Dave's not here. So that's what happened to Dave, unfortunately. It was a bad day for Dave. Kind of fun for me, but anyway. Sorry, Dave. You had to take one for the team, brother. I have no idea who the hell that was. That was probably a congressperson. I have no idea. Probably a congressperson. That just might have been. I don't know where they live or whatever. Ooh. I don't know what brought that coughing on. Anywho. Today there wasn't really a whole lot of headlines that came out. I was shocked when I got up and I looked at the little RT thingy this morning. I kid you not, it had the number 6 on it. That was it. And I was like, wow. It was kind of, well, considering that it's Rafal's birthday, it kind of made the day seem a little bit more ominous. You know, I know a lot of people, well, no news is good news. No, that ain't true. Not when you do news. When you do news, no news is usually bad news. So, while I haven't seen anything yet as far as events happening today, I haven't really seen anything too crazy coming across. Not today, but it's been a few days since we've spoke. So, been a few things that's gone on. Sure some folks are probably wondering what I was talking about with the title of the show. Well, since we've last spoke, I believe that $2 billion more was, hey, here's Zelensky. Our taxpayers have got it. Don't worry about it. So, yeah, a couple more billion to Ukraine for, weapons and aid. But U.S. soldiers, they're probably due for a raise by now, don't you think? Probably due for a raise, right? That's probably what the government's up to. They're probably getting ready to give them a raise, right? No. Seems like the government's thinking about trying to take their guns away. Yeah, because, they're military service members. You can't be armed. Are you out of your damn mind? Some of the best trained people, on firearms. You gotta be kidding me. Have those things at home. Anyway, Pentagon wants to make it harder for U.S. soldiers to kill themselves. Oh, that's what it is. They're trying to help. I didn't think about that. I didn't think that they were probably just trying to help. Pentagon Advisory Panel, formed to help address a suicide crisis in the U.S. military, has recommended imposing gun control measures on American service members to make it harder for them to kill themselves. Soldiers under the age of 25 would be banned from buying guns on U.S. bases, while all others would face a 7-day waiting period to complete their firearm purchases under a plan released on Friday by the Pentagon Suicide Prevention Committee. So you telling me that out of the, and I know the number was 22 a day. I honestly can't tell you if the number is still 22 a day or if that number has gone up or down. But are you trying to tell me that out of those 22 a day, that the majority of them had purchased that firearm they shot themselves with within 7 days of shooting themselves? You telling me that those service members specifically went out and bought that firearm so that they could take themselves out, is what you're trying to say. So that's why you want a 7-day waiting period. Well, I'm going to call horse shit on that. Just right off the top, I'm going to call horse shit on that because, well, they're military members. Military members typically, well, most of them are, they kind of favor the idea of being able to own a gun. I don't know why. It's kind of a weird correlation. It doesn't make sense. You would think military members would rather have stuffed animals and big teddy bears and stuff like that. I don't know. Doesn't make any sense to me. But, sometimes they'll go out and maybe purchase a gun, just, I don't know. I'd rather have the teddy bear. I don't know why they would choose a gun. But anyway, I'm not buying that they're buying those guns within 7 days of committing suicide. That's a lie. And I find it awful interesting that those that are in their prime age to have a firearm, for defense and protection, the ones that the government wants to be able to send off and then bring back in body bags, those people, the ones between, maybe 18 and 25. Well, we need to prevent you from having guns too. Why? Well, because 22 a day. 22 a day. It's horrible. The only thing that we can do is take the guns away from you. Because you won't try to figure out any other way to do it. That would be silly. That would just be silly. Folks, I just being real here. I don't even know what to think anymore. We've got a government that is completely pissing all over everything that is our Bill of Rights and even our natural rights. The inalienable ones that the government don't control. Oh, like being able to defend yourself. What a notion. Being able to feed yourself. God didn't require you to have a permit to catch something to eat. Our rights, even our existence, has been trampled and pissed on 7 ways from Sunday. I bet that the ink wasn't dry on the Bill of Rights when some of those individuals already were trying to piss on them. You go couple of 2.5 or so centuries of that, and the entire government's just one big old piss pit. Congressmen and women standing around. Yep, even the congresswomen stand and piss. They're proud of it. We need to be honest with ourselves. And in the same way I was trying to be honest with my boys, I'll be honest with you. You better damn well be able to fend for yourself. There ain't nobody coming. And there ain't nothing that's going to stop this train. It is, it's completely out of control. You shut off the engines and locked up the brakes, you couldn't stop the train. That's how late it is. This here, what they're trying to do here, They're trying to remove a threat. That's what this is about. This isn't about protecting young men and women. This is about a perceived threat. Nah, I don't think Congressman Dave was involved, Rayo. Just kidding. Might have been. That might have been the bastard. I don't know. I hope Congressman Dave wasn't involved in that. Oh, let's see. Anyway, let me read a little bit more so you know, instead of just my nonsense. The group also called for creating a database to track guns purchased on U.S. military property, which would require repealing legislation passed by Congress in 2013 to prohibit such tactics, as well as a waiting period on ammunition sales. Wonder what the excuse for that was. When we look at the science of suicide prevention, there's arguably only one thing that all researchers agree on, said panel member Craig Bryan, a safety expert at Ohio State University. And that one thing is that taking steps to slow down convenient access to highly lethal methods like firearms is the single most effective strategy for saving lives. Are you out of your damn mind? I've known people that have taken their own life. And they don't all choose a gun. I know of multiple otherwise. I don't know why. I'm pretty sure some of them, in fact, I'm positive some of them had access to guns. They chose not to go that way. In fact, one of them, I know down, he had his own guns. He had his own guns. So if guns is the way for sure that somebody's going to go to kill themselves, then can you tell me why he chose to lock himself in his garage with his car and start it up and go to sleep on the front seat? Can you tell me why he chose that route over the gun? I mean, if the gun's the one way. This stuff pisses me off because they're not trying to save lives. They're trying to take guns. They aren't even remotely looking in the direction of the problem. You know, that's the society and the world we live in today. We don't deal with our problems. We blame everybody else for our fucking problems. And then just push forward. Unbelievable. Maybe if as a society we became, a little more self-accountable. Maybe we'd see the reason for a lot of these problems. This goes on to say such measures would put the U.S. military in the position of inhibiting the constitutional gun rights of its own service members who exist ostensibly to defend American freedoms. It will be up to the Pentagon and Congress to determine whether to implement any or all of the panel's recommendations. Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin created the advisory committee last March. The Pentagon said it has taken note of the group's report and will use it to enhance its current approach to suicide prevention. Secretary Austin has emphasized that the department's most valuable resource is its people, that they will spare no effort in working to prevent suicide and save lives. But that's not what you're doing. And in fact, let me just throw this out at you. Okay? If at the age of 18, or we'll even say 21, either or, doesn't matter, works either way. If at the age of 18 or 21, you can go and purchase a firearm at your local gun shop legally. But if you join the military, then you got to wait until you're 25 to be able to purchase a firearm. You think that might be motivation to why maybe, I don't know, maybe some young men and women not join the military because they don't want to be withheld from participating in their inalienable rights? Deaths by suicide among active duty U.S. troops jumped 44% between 2015 and 2020, rising to 384. Even as the military adopted special training and intervention measures, nearly 17 U.S. veterans kill themselves each day on average, according to the Veterans Administration. So maybe that is the new updated number. While one is far too many, 17 is going in a better direction than from when it was 22. So I don't know exactly the timeline of how many and when, but I know the answer is not taking the guns. Not if you want to prevent troop suicide. Maybe, I don't know, stop sending them to war? That's probably, I would say, the number one thing you could do to help a soldier not want to kill themselves. Stop making them want to kill themselves. That would probably, you could probably pin it there, right? Just stop making them want to kill themselves, meaning stop putting them in other countries to kill people they don't know for your ambitions of money and resources. I don't know. Just a thought. God, it pisses me off. This government is a piss poor excuse for anything. I don't know if I even ordered these tonight, so take them as you get them. U.S. markets are now in death zone, says Morgan Stanley. Isn't that special? U.S. stocks have soared to unsustainable highs and could crash 26% within months. This is the warning, folks. This is the warning. That when I'm saying the warning, this is the warning. Morgan Stanley's top strategist has warned in an analyst note. The bank's chief U.S. equity strategist, Mike Wilson, said that the current level of stock valuations could be compared to the death zone, a term in mountaineering describing an altitude so high that climbers do not have enough oxygen to breathe. Many fatalities in high-altitude mountaineering have been caused by the death zone, either directly through loss of vital functions or indirectly by wrong decisions made under stress or physical weakening that lead to accidents, Wilson wrote. This is a perfect analogy for where equity investors find themselves today and, quite frankly, where they've been many times over the past decade, he added. The metaphor indicates the excessive levels that stock prices have climbed to since the start of this year. Wilson suggested the S&P 500 could tumble to 3,000 points within months, down about 26% from current levels, saying that it's time to head back to base camp before the next guide down in earnings. The grim forecast follows what many analysts have called the worst year for the stock market since the 2008 financial crisis. All three indexes tumbled in 2022, with the Dow Jones Industrial Average ending the year down 8.8%, while the S&P 500 sank 19.4% and the Nasdaq Composite plunged 33.1%. The bear market rally that began in October from reasonable prices and low expectations has morphed into a speculative frenzy based on a Fed pause pivot that isn't coming, Wilson's latest note said. The strategist had repeatedly warned that the market rally won't last, as he expects inflation to prove stickier than many other economists forecast, forcing the U.S. Federal Reserve to hike rates in order to bring soaring prices under control. So, but the next thing I want to cover, got a few more tabs open here. I have extensively warned about the centralization of everything. And I had been warning about it as it's been happening over across the pond. And ever since the start of the conflict between Russia and Ukraine and the energy crunch as a result, I have seen countries over there across the pond take steps to essentially nationalize energy. And I said to be mindful, because before all was said and done, it would happen here. But that wasn't it. I also warned about the centralization of other things that aren't an option. They're things that people have to have, like food. We have sat and we have watched what they've done here in the United States and how they've ran off a lot of the small farmers. Now it's a lot of corporate farming going on. And slowly but surely they are centralizing the food supply in the United States. They are doing it, quote unquote, through private industry. Okay? Because capitalism, right? Smile, thumbs up, right? Capitalism. And they are utilizing all the loopholes and, favors they're given to make it to the behemoth corporations that they are. Now, see, that's how it's got to be done here. Because, well, we got this damn piece of paper that just stops people from just doing whatever they wanted to do in this country. And, well, they have to abide by it, so, they can't just swoop right in with the communism. So anyway, not here, but there's other countries on the planet, and man, they are in a hurry in the direction of communism. UK, remember, the same country that said, we need to take control of the energy industry because, well, look at this. So what did they do? Put in measures, put in controls to be able to essentially control energy. Well, we're dealing with food rations in the stores now. What can we do? Well, we'll just take command of the food production. We'll just take that. We'll nationalize that. We'll make sure you never have to worry. You'll never go hungry again. No, because government always does it the best. Every time. UK government needs to take command of local food production. Local food production. You know, the ones that, I don't know, might give a head of lettuce to a neighbor. You can't do that, criminal. They're warning that an ongoing shortage of fruit and vegetables across the country could be just the tip of the iceberg. Lettuce that you tried to give to your neighbor but got shot in the face because that's a criminal act. Now that the government owns the food that I've made in my garden. According to Tom Bradshaw, the deficit of some fruits and vegetables, including tomatoes and cucumbers, has been caused by volatility arising from the geopolitical events and climate change, which is putting intense pressure on supply chains. So, you know, I mean, the war in Russia, Ukraine. Shit, where's my juju fruit? Anyway, what we saw last summer with the 40 degrees Celsius heat is climate change in action, Bradshaw told Times Radio, adding that the weather had exacerbated a supply chain crisis triggered by the Russia-Ukraine conflict. I knew it. I want my jujubes, or it's jujuberries. Jujuberries, right? Yeah, something. I don't know. It doesn't matter. I want them. Bradshaw also said geopolitical. Wait. No. Oh, this is a new paragraph. We're gonna hang on the conflict here a second. Bradshaw also said geopolitical tensions have driven up inflation, particularly energy inflation. Yeah, you know, they took control of before, to unprecedented levels, leaving UK farmers struggling to meet energy costs. Moreover, because there's always a moreover, Britain has been facing the additional challenge of repositioning itself with trading partners since the 2016 Brexit referendum, the union chief said. Well, good for all of you. Congratulations for your communism. I'm sure they'll give you a little wider grave than the other people. It'd be nice. Not getting a casket, though. Yeah, right. Defense Minister explains conditions for Russian advances in Ukraine. Russia's defense minister has outlined the conditions for a widening of Moscow's military operation in Ukraine, explaining that potential advances are directly tied to Western arms deliveries to Kiev. It depends on the weaponry that will be supplied, Sergei Shoigu said in a brief remark to the TV program Moscow, Kremlin. I guess that's the name of the TV program. Moscow, Kremlin, I guess. Putin? Hell, I'm lost now. The minister appeared to be speaking on the sidelines of President Vladimir Putin's address to the Federal Assembly, the country's main legislative body, earlier this week. One thing must be clear to everyone, Putin said during the event. The longer the range of the Western systems that arrive in Ukraine, the further we will be forced to push the threat away from our borders. It's obvious. Russia sent troops into Ukraine on February... Oh, that's just going into history. Pardon me, belching. Russia has repeatedly urged Western states to stop pumping Ukraine with weapons, maintaining that the continuous flow of arms will only prolong the conflict rather than change its ultimate outcome. Kiev, for its part, has repeatedly demanded more and longer-range weaponry from its Western backers, insisting that such systems are needed to push Russian troops out of the territories Ukraine claims as its own. So, copy. Insanity. The next one, it's the last tab I have open, then we'll get to the headlines from Friday. Well, Friday till today, obviously. I gotta have a couple of vapes before we go here. because this is kind of a big oof. Had a lot of big oofs lately. But this isn't something that, like, came out today and happening today or anything like that. I know earlier I said there was nothing that happened today that was really, that I know of, that was really big, but, big. This is a big announcement. There's no two ways about that. However, it's not going to be done overnight. What are you talking about, man? Well, let me show you. China reveals plans to counter Musk's Starlink. Now, you might think, who cares, right? And normally I would think, who cares? But let's read. Chinese researchers are preparing to launch close to 13,000 satellites into a low Earth orbit in a move which would dwarf and potentially monitor Elon Musk's SpaceX Starlink network, which it first launched in 2019 and provides satellite internet access to 50 countries. Now, let me just riddle you this. If I put up a bunch of satellites that monitored other satellites, couldn't I don't know, intercept the data from those said satellites? Would seem that I could. That's a scary frickin' thought. Anyway, continuing on. The project, which is codenamed GW, and I'm sure not for Bush, and is being led by Associate Professor Zhu Kan of People's Liberation Army Space Engineering University in Beijing, will see 12,992, that's right, folks, just 8 short of 13,000. Come on, throw another 8 up there. Come on, give it a nice round number. Anyway, let's see. They will see them operated by the China Satellite Network Group company, launched into orbit, and is designed to improve communications efficiency. The launch schedule remains unknown, but the team led by Zhu said that they plan to deploy them before the completion of Starlink. I'm not sure when that's supposed to be done. They added that this would ensure that our country has a place in low orbit and prevent the Starlink constellation from excessively preempting low orbit resources. In other words, now they're in a battle to put a bunch of crap up there. Right? I mean, don't you like that feeling? Hey, man, we're gonna put hundreds of thousands of satellites in low Earth orbit, because if we don't, well, somebody else is going to take the space to put one there. This is nonsense. Anyway, the projected number of GW Bush satellites would surpass Starlink's current total of around 3,500. Oh, well, the hell, that pales in comparison. SpaceX plans to have 12,000 devices in its constellation of satellites by 2027, with that figure eventually rising to 42,000. Well, you better plan a bigger number than that, Mr. Musk, 'cause China's on your heels. Zhu's team elaborated that they would place their satellites into orbits where the sun don't shine. No, anyway, the Starlink constellation has not yet reached, and that they would gain opportunities and advantages at other orbital altitudes and even suppress Starlink. But if they were up where the sun doesn't shine, well, they could check your prostate. The GW Bush network could also be equipped with technology to provide long-term surveillance of Starlink satellites, the team of researchers added. Who's watching who? Zhu, Zhu and his team also suggested the Chinese government could form an anti-Starlink coalition. You know, an anti-space force. That's what they ought to call it, the anti-space force. That's what you ought to call it, Xi Jinping. Anti-space force. It'll be awesome. Chinese military figures have previously expressed concern at the national security implications posed by SpaceX's satellites and called for the development of hard-kill technology to destroy the constellation's operating system should it be necessary. Why don't you just shoot it right in the beady little eye? Right? Just shoot it in the beady little eye. That's all you got to do. Take any satellite out of space. Shoot it in a beady little eye. China's efforts to counter Starlink come amid growing concerns about the potential military applications of the global satellite network. The technology has been used to bolster communications by Ukrainian military forces throughout its conflict with Russia, though SpaceX took steps earlier this month to restrict its use in controlling military drones in the country. So, take that and that and that. Maybe if we take careful precaution to be running as fast as we can as we come upon the crest of the cliff, we might either make it to the other side or have a soft landing. Let's race. Let's try it. This country is just messed up. Anyway, I've got some headlines and stuff. Not to be confused with cocaine lines or nothing, because that's a pick-me-up. This is a bring you down. Just wanted to be clear. All right. Start your bong pipes. All right. Officials reveal this is Friday's news, by the way. Officials reveal cost of shooting down UFOs, says Wall Street Journal. Poland picks U.S. firm to build first nuclear power plant, says AP. Google accused of destroying evidence in antitrust suit. They would never do that. Why, that's Google. You can trust them. China accused of stealing Western technology. Yeah, probably about a couple million times. Ukraine poised to invade neighbor, says Russian MOD. Whistleblower exposes new FBI scandal. Well, there's nothing new about a new scandal in the FBI, that's for sure. China unveils roadmap to end Ukraine conflict. Yeah, you quit killing people. Yeah, pretty much. You quit shooting people in the face. That's how you end war. Yeah, it's really that simple. Just don't shoot them in the face. I don't know. The U.S. started both Iraq and Ukraine conflicts, says former state senator to RT. That would be correct. Japanese inflation hits 4-decade high. Putin's fault. Russia responds to UN vote on Ukraine. IMF advises against making crypto legal tender. Biden lied about Nord Stream blast, says Seymour Hersh. Yeah. Well, maybe. Biden might have forgot. Hell, he might have never knew. You cannot, in confidence, go into a court of law and state that at any point during his presidency that Biden knew what he was doing. I mean, come on. He's got the perfect, it's beyond an insanity plea, right? It's a dementia plea, right? They're going to probably even put that new law on the books, right? The whole dementia plea thing. Probably be a new one. Let's see. Russia warns U.S., NATO, and Ukraine over Transnistria. As long as they leave alone Transylvania. There we go. Transylvania. As long as you leave that alone, that's fine. Just leave him alone. He's been through enough. Let's see. U.S. defense official reveals timeline for tank deliveries to Ukraine. 2, 3, 10 years. We'll get them there. EU's largest economy shrinks. Yeah, well. Biden team has deeply rooted hatred for Russia, says U.S. Congressman. Well, yeah, because of all their investment in Ukraine. I mean, you can't invest in one and love the other. White House details new sanctions against Russia. U.S. and U.K. stall on jets for Ukraine. As long as the jets themselves don't stall, we're good. Financial crime watchdog suspends Russia. Alec Baldwin enters plea in Rust shooting. Totally not guilty. Not guilty. And because I know you're all worried about this, I know it. I was going to have 2,000-3,000 emails in the morning if I didn't if I didn't make this clear. The judge ruled that Alec Baldwin, while attending trial, can continue to film the movie. I know that you were all just flipped out, worried about whether or not that movie was going to come out, whether it's going to be on schedule. I know, man. I know. I almost pulled out all my hair over it. But anyway, it's all good. You can shoot somebody in the face if you're the right person and continue to make your movie. It's all good. Hey, no shame, Alec. No shame, brother. You shouldn't feel any guilt or anything. You go and you shoot that movie, brother. What the hell happened to our society? Pentagon unveils new major Ukraine aid package. I mean, why not? Take the guns away from our troops, though. Exemptions and new EU anti-Russian sanctions revealed. And U.S. reveals more anti-Russia sanctions. And Russia hit with fresh sanctions. Did you get anything from that? I'm pretty sure that Russia got sanctioned. NATO and EU react to Chinese peace roadmap for Ukraine. They said that they couldn't understand it. It was Chinglish, and I had to draw a new map. Ohio train derailment 100% preventable, says regulator. Well, yeah, I guess, anytime, I don't know, it was dragging cars along the tracks with sparks shooting all over the place and fires starting. And yeah, any time between that and, I don't know, 30-something miles or something that traveled like that would have been a good time to stop the damn train. It could have been prevented. But, hell with it. Russia comments on China's Ukraine roadmap. Biden must rein in illegal Israeli settlements, says a former ambassador. Good luck on that. Whether it's Democrat, Republican in office, doesn't matter. Good luck on that. There are some things that have, an unbelievable amount of bipartisan support. Israel is one of those things. Let's see. U.S. watchdog's own figures undermined its extremism claims. Alex Jones claims the Department of Justice wants his cat. Meow. It's true. It is true. The Department of Justice. I mean, you would have thought all that money that Alex Jones had to pay in that settlement with Sandy Hook, and now Alex Jones is going to have to give his pussy to the Department of Justice. I cannot believe my ears. Poor Alex. That should be how you close the news for the night, isn't it? I mean, Alex Jones has to give his pussy to the Department of Justice. That's a wrap. I mean, come on. I can't top that. Crazy. Okay. Man held at Guantanamo since 2004 without charges released. NATO majors float Ukraine negotiation plan, says Wall Street Journal. It's one thing to keep people detained down in Guantanamo since 2004. What about all those people from January 6th you still got detained? Let's see. Russian diplomat responds to U.S. over big country bullying. There's only one potential scenario for Ukraine talks, says Russia's envoy. Hang on, I gotta have a drink and a vape. Yum. Make it where you can't see me. I'll hide from you the rest of the show. Take that. Okay, that's enough. Now I'm going to be coughing because I was trying to be stupid. All right. White House sees no indication of Kiev misusing aid. Or AIDS. I mean, because they've misused AIDS a lot. It was a thing in the 80s. Ukraine prepares attack. See, I told you. Ukraine prepares attack on Crimea, says Zelensky. EU approves new anti-Russia sanctions. North Korea says U.S. drills amount to a declaration of war. Classic children's books to be published after censorship row. Biden says he won't visit Ohio town hit by toxic spill. What a nice guy you are. China breaks ground on world's largest green hydrogen project. Western brands that left Russia easy to find, says Reuters. Oh, we are... Okay. The hydrogen project was the beginning of yesterday's news, so we're now on yesterday's news. Biden clarifies position on warplanes for Kiev. Not quite been quite long enough yet to say, okay, we're giving them to them. Close, though. We're getting close. Washington reveals scope of Russia sanctions. Canada sanctions Soviet hockey icon. Iraq opts for one settlements in trade with China. Seymour Hersh shares opinion on Edward Snowden. Russia remains Germany's largest coal supplier, says Bild. WHO raises alarm over bird flu. Japan touts new anti-Russia sanctions. U.S. inflation continues to rise. Iran unveils new long-range cruise missile. Now, that's a big deal. Now, if I'm not mistaken, there was, or is, I don't know if any of them are still, some agreements, some treaties, or whatever the hell they call them all, that were signed, some agreements, that Iran wouldn't make long-range weapons, right? They weren't allowed to make long-range weapons. They could only make short and medium-range weapons, and boy, did they put their time and effort into that. I've said it before, I mean it, and I didn't stutter. Iran has the most sophisticated advanced short and medium range weapons owned by a military. All the superpowers put their focus on long range weapons. Since Iran couldn't, or at least weren't supposed to, or couldn't get caught, they put their money and time into short and medium range. So, I have a feeling, just like the feeling that they've long had a capable nuclear weapon, I have a feeling that they have had and have many long-range cruise missiles ready or already fitted with said devices, among other things. I have no doubt of this. No doubt of this. I have no doubt this planet's going to light up. No doubt. I mean, the good book's enough word for me. But watching all of this unfold, yikes. You know, I've said one of the things that I've done often is I keep watching Damascus, right? I think that's on a lot of people's, bingo card for SHTF, is watching Damascus fall, right? And for a long time, I was kind of like, I'm seeing stuff happen, but it's nothing on that scale, of the scale of taking off the face of the earth. I'm starting to see where that could likely happen at this point, with the ramping up of the hostilities. That's how I'm choosing to word it, the ramping up of the hostilities against Iran by Israel. I don't think everything's on the surface, and of course everything hasn't happened yet, but I have a feeling, a very good feeling, that Israel's getting ready to reach out and touch someone. And I think it's going to be in and around that conflict that we're going to see Damascus get wiped out. So just keep that in the back of your mind. Ex-Russian president explains how trophy weapons are used. Crypto platforms in no rush to shun Russia, says Politico. Prominent influencer found dismembered in refrigerator. Yeah. Now, if that isn't freaky enough. This happened in Hong Kong. Okay. This is nuts. They suspect that it was over a financial dispute. And now, I don't know if they've gotten the last individual they're looking for or not. But they were looking for a total of 4 individuals. And they've got 3 of them in custody. And those individuals are this young woman's father, mother, older brother, and the one that last I knew they were still looking for is the ex-husband. So, mom, dad, brother, and hubby took her ass out. I mean, as in, like, took her ass out. They were probably selling her as takeout food on the street corner. Who knows? But, yikes. Yikes. Anyway, Moscow responds to claims of secret talks on Ukraine. Well, if you let us know about it, they're not secret. Harvey Weinstein, or Weinstein, depending on where you're at on the particular Mandela scale, another victim goes public. Poll reveals Republicans' preferences for 2024 race, which is probably death and destruction. That's pretty much their preferences, I think. Republicans, Democrats, it doesn't matter. Death and destruction. That's what's on the plate for dinner. EU rolls out anniversary anti-Russian sanctions package. U.S. spends more on Ukraine than it burned through in Afghanistan, says a researcher. Now, if that isn't shocking, I don't know what is. That is just mind-blowing. Ukraine most threatened by China, says Bolton. Okay. Fewer Americans perceive that Ukraine is winning, says a poll. Well, yeah, because, common sense does exist, and it only takes so long before all your propaganda doesn't work so well, and common sense takes over. And didn't the same thing happen with COVID? I'm pretty sure the same thing happened with COVID. Elon Musk calls 2014 Ukraine regime change a coup. Ukraine has total dominance over the U.S., says Trump. Zelensky threatens unsupportive Americans. You can support my jock, Zelensky. Iran still wants... Iran still wants to kill Trump, top general says. Well, okay. Berlin rally against arming Ukraine draws tens of thousands. Pentagon panel recommends gun control. Oh, I covered that. Yeah, that was actually the last one from yesterday. All right, let me have a drink of coffee, a few vapes, a moment to get over myself, and we'll be good again. Oh, fun times. Isn't it fun time? Fun time. All right. Today's news. All 5 things. No, there was more than that, but NATO member may delay vote on expansion. Switzerland confirms stance on frozen Russian assets. Yeah, they got some good ice cream? Because, if you've got some ice cream assets, I wouldn't mind taking a few pounds off your hand, but it's got to be good ice cream. Do Russians make good ice cream? Anyway. Iran awaits green light to start exporting cars to Russia, says an official. Another train derails after Ohio chemical spill. Just like I said, after something major happens, and every time anything comes close, run it through the news. Energy crisis to cost Germany $1 trillion, says Bloomberg. No, you mean it's going to cost the citizens of Germany $1 trillion. Right. Putin reveals Moscow's main issue with the U.S. He's just got one? Because, dude, how do you even pick? How do you even pick your number one main issue with the United States? You talk about picking a favorite song can be hard, or favorite color, but holy hell. You've only got, a few billion colors or something like that? There's a hell of a lot more issues with the U.S. than there are colors, that's for damn sure. People in Germany bring flowers to blown up Russian tank. Well, that was a nice gesture, and I'm sure the tank appreciates it and will feel better. U.S. markets. I don't know. U.S. markets are now in death zone. Oh, I covered that one. Dozens dead after migrant shipwreck off Italy. Award-winning cartoon dropped after creator's racist tirade. How dare you? Thousands rally for peace in Italy. As long as you are peaceful. Defense minister explains conditions for Russian advances in Ukraine. Oh, I read that one. Ukraine's neighbor speaks out on NATO membership. Protesters gather outside major American air base in the EU. U.S. presidential hopeful calls for an end to Ukraine aid. Well, yeah, like billions of dollars ago. U.S. Inspector General for Afghanistan warns against Ukraine aid wastage. I'm pretty sure there's been plenty of Ukraine aid wastage by this time. I mean, sheesh. There was this movie a long time ago. It kind of reminds me of this. We should call this Biden's Millions. It was like the movie was called Brewster's Millions, and the deal was, I believe it was Richard Pryor, and the deal was, I think he had to spend like $1 million or something like that. It's been so long. I think maybe he had 30 days or something to spend $1 million. And there were some rules to it, and one of the rules was he couldn't have jack shit to show for it at the end of the month. That was how the game went. You had to spend $1 million in 30 days, and at that end of 30 days, you have to show that you didn't have a damn thing to show for that $1 million you blew. That was the premise of the movie Brewster's Millions. This is like Biden's Millions with Ukraine, right? You got to put all your nation's money into this other nation, this other country, this neo-Nazi country. And you can't have shit to show for it in the end. Yeah, so you didn't know. This is just a big movie. That's why Zelensky's gone on so many photo shoots. I mean... White House distances itself from COVID lab leak theory. I don't know why. At this point, I'd be welcoming that. I mean, with everything else. I mean, Chinese spy balloons and... yeah, all that. Saudi Arabia pledges $400 million in aid to Ukraine. Because you're idiots too, I guess, right? Anti-NATO protests hit France. And that is the end of the headlines for today. I'm serious. I think if we run really, really hard, we might at least increase the chance for a soft landing, and maybe by some miracle, some stroke of God's hand, we'll be able to jump the crevasse, right? Because it's one big ass, and make it to the other side, right? All we can do is try. Hey, it's either that or just tiptoeing up to the edge and just, tossing yourself. That's no way to do it. That's no way to do it. No. If you should die on your feet, well, when you go off that cliff, you should jump off leaping, right? Right. All right. I am out of here. I hope you all have a good evening. God willing, I'll be back tomorrow if the aliens don't come get me. Or the funny farm or anything like that. So, yeah, aliens, funny farm. Other than that, I think I'm good. I'll see you tomorrow night. So I hope you all have a good one. Hope to see you tomorrow night. I don't blame you if you didn't come back to this train wreck. And as always, God bless you. We love you. Be one with your spirit. And shalom.